Hey everybody, Jerome Maldonado. It's Wednesday and it's Real Talk on Real Estate, and we're back. So ladies and gentlemen, today is one of my favorite topics. So typically, here's what happens typically, okay? So typically, my team that works with me tells me, Jerome, these are the trending topics in real estate that are really trending right now. The housing market, Biden's tax relief or Trump's tax relief or whatever it is. And they sit back and they go, okay, that's what we need to do as far as trending stuff. And so this week I said, you know what, enough of the trending garbage, because, and not that it's garbage, it's important information. But the reason I say garbage is because there's stuff that we're doing that people need to know about, and they want information, not just on what's happening today, but stuff they can utilize forever. Information and tools and knowledge that they can utilize forever. And people ask, hey, Jerome, why do you do this? Why do you spend the time? I said, look, if I can get a good group of people, you guys notice I'm doing stuff all over the country. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you would have asked me 4 years ago if I could have put this together independently, I couldn't have done it with as much ease as I have now, and with as good of partners as I have right now. And so the biggest thing is through my social outreach of what we've been able to do. I've been able to get people working where we're getting them to a financial status where they're becoming more affluent financially. I'm being able to meet good people that I've had ongoing relationships with in business. And now I've been able to exercise partnerships with those people, knowing who they are as individuals and what they stand for, their work ethic and what we're doing. And so it's great. I got good people that I can advocate with. Some of those people in the future might be people like you that are watching this video right now. And so understand that I need to make sure that the people I'm working with fit in alignment with what we're doing. So if they're following my content, I know that they're investing, I know that they're moving in the right direction. Those are the people that I'm looking for. So that person might be you in the near future at some point in time, or not. Otherwise, you just take the information, utilize it in your best interest for the best information that's out there. And you know that the information you're getting is true and wholehearted, and it's not some 25-year-old kid that did 1 or 2 deals, had success on 1 or 2 deals, but hasn't lived the duration of the professional aspect of what we do to be able to go through the bumps in the roads and all the aspects of what we do. Because we can take a project, we can unfold it, and then just move forward on stuff methodically before we get into any problems, any trouble. And there's always unforeseen stuff. So if we can limit that, and we can limit the variabilities of problems, that helps us substantially. So ladies and gentlemen, that's what this is all about. And so everything that we're doing right now has been to be able to build people a base income. So what I want to talk to you guys about today is how you go out and you generate capital, okay? And then how you take that capital and deploy that capital into long-term holdings, and how you benefit from the taxes. Now, little disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys don't know, I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not a business attorney. I'm not an attorney of any sort. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA, nor do I claim to be. So the information that I give you guys here is stuff that I've learned over the course of time from professionals that I've hired, other attorneys, other accountants, CPAs that work on my behalf or have worked on my behalf over the course of time. And so, ladies and gentlemen, take this information for what it's worth and roll with it to be able to help and benefit you guys. And the information that I that I give you guys gives you the knowledge, the fundamentals that you can take it to a CPA, you can take it to an attorney, and you can question them in reference to what I'm talking about, and then have them help assist you with positioning your assets the way I'm talking about here. So as far as the LLCs, as far as the tax benefits, depreciating and expending, depreciating assets for tax benefits, doing accelerated depreciation on large assets that you buy utilizing money that you generate, wholesaling homes, flipping homes, buying land and building houses, or whatever means that income comes in from, whether you're a doctor and you make it doing, you're a physician or you're a surgeon, or whether you're an attorney yourself and you generate capital from doing something else, whether you own a construction company, you're a plumber, you're an electrician, whatever it is, you take that money, you expense it into other projects, and how you benefit from the tax advantages that real estate offers as a whole. One of the best tax shelters in the world is real estate. One of the best asset investments in the entire world, real estate. And you guys will understand that through the course of the day. Now, look, Understand. What I talk about a lot is I talk about people going out and generating income, right? Because first and foremost, you can go out. If you're great at learning how to do asset management and you know how to syndicate, you don't need money. You can go out and raise capital and get it from other people. And you just have to become a good asset manager, but you still have to get good at the game of real estate because you have to understand how to underwrite deals. You have to understand how to facilitate those deals, put all the logistical items together as far as the title work, all the legal work, the inspections, the underwriting, the financials, the banking, all of that stuff has to be accounted for. And then if you become a good asset manager, then you don't have to have a ton of money because you can use other people's money to be able to go out and buy the assets, and you could still take mass majority of equity interest in it because you're taking the liability. You're going in, you're facilitating the work. And so you're able to take a lot of it. That's what a lot of the people that you guys know out there, like Grant Cardone and all these, and some of these guys have done, right? So he doesn't have to expense all that money out of his own pocket. He can get it from other investors. Okay. So where we went out, we've built our portfolio in cash that we've had and utilized our own revenue over the course of time. It's not the quickest way to go out and create wealth and a portfolio. So in 2016, we said, okay, we've been doing this for the last 17 years. And in 2016, and I said, okay, so look, we've done well. We've created a great network, but it's been a slow, long process. So I'm not getting any younger. I'm going to accelerate this by going out and implementing other people's money to help our portfolio grow. And then it will in turn help other people generate revenue and increase their portfolios hand in hand. Win-win situation. And so, but the thing is we have to get people generating large enough capital so we can deploy that capital into long-term holdings. Okay. Now there's multiple benefits to that. Now look, if you go out, you buy land, okay? You go out and buy a piece of land, okay? Here's your piece of land right here. You got a parcel of land, okay? Now, you're gonna go out, you're gonna build a house, okay? You're gonna build a beautiful, sexy home, you know, big porches in the back, big porch in the front, you know, big views over here with big windows. You're gonna have family rooms, you're gonna have bedrooms and stuff in here, kitchens, family room. You're gonna build a house, okay? Now, this thing's gonna make you, depending on what area you're in, depending on how big the house is, you can probably make anywhere between 60K on the low end on a smaller home. You know, I try to build a business model where people can make closer to 6 figures on every home, where they can make between 80 and 110, 120K per home. But you can make anywhere from about 60K to someplace in the neighborhood. You can make, you know, $1 million or more, you know, but on average, 600 to 250K. Then you start getting in over $1 million homes, okay? But under $1 million home or $1 million thereabouts, where you make this, up to like about a $500,000 home, this you can make on doing a 60K is you can make doing a $350,000 house, okay? But let's say you're doing $450,000 house and or above, to $1 million home, you can generate between 60 and 250K or thereabouts if you learn the process correctly. Now, so let's take an average of 100K per house. Okay. Now we formulate a business model. We take 100K per house profitability, and we teach you guys how to do just 2 of those a year. Okay. We go in, you do this twice a year, just an infill lot. You're not doing the full development. You're not going in, putting water lines in and electrical or any of that stuff, but you go in and you do this twice, and you make 200K in 1 year. Okay, so you make $200,000 in 1 year buying land, building houses. Let's say you have another job that's making you another $100,000, $150,000 a year, and you're able to deploy another $50,000 into this. Now you have about $250,000. Okay, so you have about 250K. The cameras are backwards on this. We should have ran this off of a regular camera. We'll do that next week for you guys. But with the numbers, you guys get it, right? So I want to be able to just share this with you guys so I can explain this simple theoretical example. Now, you could do this flipping homes. You're not going to make this type of profitability. On the average flip, you'll make about between 30 and 60K, closer to about $30,000 or $40,000. That's why I don't like flips, because that's your maximum potential on average. And if one variable messes you up, because when you open walls, when you start working with heating and cooling systems, when you start working with electrical systems, when you start putting in new cabinets or new flooring in older homes, you just don't know what you're going to peel back. So one mistake and you're done. Your profitability can go in half, your margins go way down. And so I don't like fix and flipping houses. The second thing that happens with fix and flips is you have to look for inventory. And right now, inventory is sparse, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know about you guys, but I remember this from 2006. So back in 2006 was about the first time that I said, you know what? In between building houses, while I'm waiting for permits and stuff, I should just pick up these little houses and try to do these 30-day turnarounds on these things and generate an extra 30 to 40,000. Now, the concept seemed to make sense, right? So it's like, okay, I already have all these houses going. We got 10 to 12 houses going a year. We're making a little over $1 million, buying land, building houses. We're developing land, building houses. Now let's just throw another 5 or 6 of these little flips in the mix for the year. And if we do, 5 of them times $30,000, $40,000, we make an extra couple $100,000 a year just from doing little fix and flips. And it adds to our bottom line. And so we're making more money, right? So it's good. It's a good thing. Now, the recession hits. Economic times change, and the same house that I could once sell for $250,000 and make a $30,000 profit, now I have to sell for $189,000 or $210,000. After I pay all my commissions, everything, I can't make any money because I bought the house at 165 or whatever it is. I put 30 grand into it to renovate it, to flip it, and after I expense everything, I make nothing. So, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you guys like to work for free? I won't do it. And so the thing that I love most about buying land and building houses is that over the course of my professional career, I've built well over 100 plus houses, between 100 and 200 homes, someplace in the neighborhood, probably 150, 180 houses over the course of time, if not more than that. And so out of all those homes, starting building my first one in the early 2000s all the way to today, ladies and gentlemen, I've never ever built a house for free. I've never lost money buying land and building houses, and I've always made a profit. Even in 2008, I made a profit. So much so that when we got into the Subway business, we started buying Subway stores, the margins to be able to make $70,000, $80,000 a year running that thing with all the hassle of employees. I told my wife, this is ludicrous. We have tons of stores. They're a pain in the ass. I got to manage regional managers, local managers, store managers, and employees all at once to make what? Nothing. I told her, never again. We sold the stores. It was a great business model. It helped us offset the expense of servicing debt on retail centers that I had built back in the recession. And we were able to sell those stores off, still maintain the leases from the franchisees. They paid us back rent. And so we were able to use that rental income to offset and expense out the debt on the building. So it was a win-win situation, but for all intended purposes, shitload of work, not enough profit. And I could go out, build a house with my eyes closed, make the same amount of profit that one store makes, more than one store makes. And if that damn thing sits there, I don't got to manage employees. I don't got to answer the phone. I don't got to order food. I don't have to worry about people not showing up. I don't have to worry about problematic managers. I don't have to worry about theft. Well, maybe a little bit, right? But I got insurance. So you might have to worry about a little bit of theft if it sits for a while. God willing, we've only had 2 houses in our entire career get broken into during construction. We've had scaffolds and equipment stolen from the employees of our subcontractors. So that's a whole different thing. But still, even with that, buying land and building houses is one of the simplest things you can do to generate as large of revenue as they produce by doing this. So why people would fix and flip, I don't know. Because the same process that goes on with this land here is going to go on with the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And the variables are very, very small. So if you look at land and you say, okay, it has a slope on it, I might need some retaining walls. I don't know if I'm as interested in that piece of land as this flat one over here, because the common sense tells you buy the flat lot. And even if it dips off the other way, you could sit back and level it, bring in dirt, and then you say, okay, it's going to cost me $20,000 in dirt work. I need to buy this lot for $20,000 less than that flat lot over there, because I need to expense the dirt work into it and make sure that I have profitability. And so you just use common sense tactics to do this. If it runs through a flood zone, you need to get the lot for less expensive because you might need to do stem walls. You got to protect yourself against a 100-year flood. And so there's variables, right? But those you get good at over the course of time. And you just have to know that if there's a variable like a flood zone, or if it's in a mountain area and there's a lot of hills, rolling hills, not even a mountain area, but just variances in the grade, you need to account for that stuff. And then there's ways that you don't even have, that you can grade, and you learn that the variables go down substantially. And that's what everything's about. Now, I don't want to get into just the whole technical aspects of buying land, building houses. The thing that you need to get out of this is that it's the variables are less, the profitability is greater, and what you can do with that capital is more important than making it, right? Well, you got to make it so you can deploy it. But it's most important because what everything in life is about is ease and retirement, so that you don't have to work your butt off for the rest of your life. So the goal is to go out and have passive income, residual income, income that works for you in spite of your own efforts. So if you decide you want to go fishing one day, or you decide that you want to go shopping with your girlfriends and have lunch one day, or you decide that you want to take your family on a vacation, that when you come back, you still have income, mailbox cash that comes in spite of your own efforts, so that you can live, you have freedom, flexibility. And then you put in the time and work hours that you choose, that you can go out, you pick, select, and choose, instead of being married to the 9 to 5 and the time clock every single day. And so, ladies and gentlemen, how do you do that? And here's what's cool, is that if you go out and you generate this type of income, if you're making $250,000 a year buying land, building houses, or through the means of being an attorney or a doctor or a plumber or a teacher or whatever it is, whatever your career is, wholesaling, fix and flip, whatever it is, I don't care. I don't care where you get your money from. My goal is to try to teach you guys how to make money with the most ease and the least amount of liability, because there's liability in all this. None of this stuff is liability free. There's risk, there's in everything. And there's also a learning curve, right? But if you follow somebody who does this stuff, obviously your learning curve goes down, and the ability for you to profit and the ability for you to be able to be successful goes up substantially. Now, you go out through whatever your means of generating this type of capital is, okay? And you generate an abundance of capital, not an abundance, just a general amount of capital. Let's say you make that $250,000 over the course of 2 or 3 years figuring this game out. And so now you're making an extra 250, not extra, but extra compared to what you need to live on, right? So you take $250,000 and you say, I'm going to go in, put 25% down on $1 million property, okay? Now, you're going to keep some. This is just your profit. So you take your base and you continue doing this. This is your 9 to 5. This is your job. This is your full-time job, right? Either buying land, building houses, fix and flipping, being an attorney, being a doctor, being a plumber, being whatever it is that you're generating capital from, selling cars, having a dealership, whatever it is, being an entrepreneur, being a social media marketing professional, whatever that means is. And you continue doing that. So the income that you're generating here continues to come in. Okay, multiple streams of income. That income continues to come in. So you always have that cash flow from your business, right? Now, you take that money and you deploy it into a long-term holding. Because if you take this $250,000 and you go out and now you're at one of the higher tax brackets, you're going to land up, and what are you left with? $150,000 a year after taxes? If you don't expense and you don't have tax write-offs? Great thing about being in business is, let's say you have a ton of tax write-offs, but you still have a $75,000 liability in taxes. Well, here's how you save that money. You go out, you take that $250,000, okay? You go out, you take this $250,000, and let's say you buy a little 6-plex, 8-plex deal, okay? Let's say you do a little 8-plex, 8 doors, you buy a little 8-plex deal, you pay $1 million for it, okay? So you go in here, you pay $1 million for a little 8-plex in a prime area, okay? And so you're paying $1 million for this right here. Okay, now you got your down payment. You have $1 million asset that this $250,000 purchased for you. And so now you can depreciate up to 80% of that in 1 year. But ladies and gentlemen, you may not want to take an $800,000 write-off on this yet. So you don't have to take 80% of it, but you can. You just need to write off that other $75,000, $100,000. So you could take off whatever that percentage is, write it off on accelerated depreciation on this asset, and you pay, guess what, in taxes? 0. And then what's great about this asset that's $1 million, guess what you get to do the next year? Depending on what your profitability is, because now you have income on this, and you have income from here, and now you have multiple streams of income going in. So let's say the next year you have $400,000 in tax liability. And let's say you're able to write that off down to $300,000 in tax liability. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you still have a write-off from this from the year prior, but now you can take that money, go buy another one, and now you have the ability to write off 80% of that in accelerated depreciation as well. And so now you have all these tax shelters and tax write-offs, and you're paying 0 in taxes because you're taking accelerated depreciations on your long-term holdings. Well, guess what these long-term holdings are doing for you? Each one of them, every month, is generating you rent capital. Okay, cash on cash return. The cash that you put in, you're generating cash on your cash at a certain percentage. Okay, so you take this money, you deploy it into this. Now, you could do a couple things. You could just leave it alone, buy a nice asset, let that thing pay itself off, and every single month you're generating capital. Second thing you can do with this asset is what we do with our assets, okay? I love value add because value add, I can go out and add value to that property by going in and putting some money into it. So let's say I buy $1 million building, and let's say I go and put a modest $80,000 into that thing, okay? So if I put $80K into that thing, now I'm able to get rents that are substantially higher because I put money into it. People want to live there now. They're excited to stay, renew their leases, and everybody pays an extra $100 a month. Well, now that asset is generating me an extra $800 a month. And to the banks, the way they underwrite stuff on an income model, that property just went up in value. So when they underwrite that thing, now that property might be worth, depending on what the rents are, it might be worth $1.1 million or $1.2 million. So what you can do is you can go get a loan based on the new value of that property, and you take a loan out on it and you pull out just a little bit of your equity. Don't go out there and pull all of it out, but let's say that out of that $250,000, you pull $200,000 of equity out of this. Now remember, you just wrote off 100% of that extra $250,000 that was a tax liability, okay? So you wrote off this $250,000, you had 0 tax liability. Now you put $80,000 into it. Guess what this $80,000 is, ladies and gentlemen? The next year you took $80,000, did value add to it. That's a tax write-off because you can expense all of everything that you put into that building. You can expense it into the building, and it's a tax write-off. And then you can depreciate that or you could depreciate it. You could either take it as an expense or you can depreciate it over the course of time. And so one or the other, but either way, it's a tax write-off. So now if you made the same 250, 400, whatever you made in revenue the next year, you could take that value add money that you put into it as a tax write-off, not pay taxes on it. And then you can either depreciate it or you can expense it, like you had expenses to be able to fix your property, right? And so it's part of your cost of doing business. This is a business right here, ladies and gentlemen. This property is a business. So now you can go in, take that as a write-off. And now all this revenue that you're generating, all that becomes a write-off based on your revenue and your depreciation. And ladies and gentlemen, you could take a loan out on this because now if it's worth $1.2 million after you increase the value, you take a loan back out on that for $200,000, and now it's not income, it's a loan. So you have 0 tax liability because it's not income, it's a loan. You take most of your original investment out of it. You're only $50,000 plus the $80,000 into this. Now you're just $130,000 all in on a $1.2 million asset. You took $200,000 of your money back out of it, tax-free. Guess what you can do with that $200,000 plus whatever you made this next year, that same calendar year, buying land and building houses. You can go do this again and buy another building. And do it all over again, ladies and gentlemen. And now you have another eight, and this thing's generating you money. This one's generating you money, and then you have another tax write-off on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, the way the wealthy get wealthy is like this. They buy assets. They find tax shelters and assets and utilize them, and they take advantage of the tax laws that were set up by the wealthy. Because Democrats, Republicans, it doesn't matter, Republicrats, independents, socialists, doesn't matter who you are, they all own real estate. And so we live in America, right? All our politicians, everybody says all politicians are crooked and corrupt or whatever they are, whatever your belief is. But they all own real estate. And ladies and gentlemen, these tax laws were written by our politicians. And so they exercise these tax laws. You need to exercise these tax laws, and you can go out and own all these tax-free if you learn how to do it right. Now, if you buy one property and you don't buy any assets, then you're gonna have tax liability. This is for the people that want to acquire real estate. They want to move forward with this as a business. They want to acquire assets and build long-term wealth and passive income. Because what this is about is developing passive income out of the means of doing this. This gives you the ability to generate money. The money you're able to deploy into a long-term holding. Then you exercise what business owners and investors have been utilizing for years and take advantage of the tax shelter that real estate offers. See, I don't worry about 1031 exchanges. I don't worry about capital gains taxes, because if I have a plan before I sell, I could utilize those, and I have utilized those tax benefits in the past. But you could go out, and if you can't exercise a 1031 exchange, then scale up. If you sell this property, so let's say you own it for 8 years, 5 years, whatever it is, and let's say this property over the course of 5-7 years is now worth $1.7 million, and you want to scale up. You could go in, you could sell that property. Let's say you've paid down some of your debt. Now, when you sell it, you're going to have to recapture that gain. So you have to scale up, because when you recapture that gain, you increase your tax liability. So now you have to scale up from 8 units, maybe to 50 units, and maybe you go from $1 million building to a $4 million building or $5 million building, and then you just keep playing and rolling that till you scale up to where you're comfortable and you can walk away from it, and you have enough passive income that you don't have to work anymore. And so there's a process in this, ladies and gentlemen. This doesn't happen overnight. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that this is easy. You need a coach. You need somebody that can help you do this, right? So you can sit here and listen to me do it, and I make it sound simple because I've been doing it for 25 plus years. But ladies and gentlemen, there is a system to this that makes what we're talking about here work. And the system wasn't created by Jerome Maldonado. The system wasn't created by other influencers out there. The system was created by our politicians, our forefathers in America. And so we just exercise and utilize it and find ways to be able to protect our income by doing business and buying real estate and assets, not liabilities, assets. Because liabilities are when you buy something and it costs you money, like an expensive car that doesn't have a return on it, a return on investment, that you just use it for flashy stuff, a watch that does the same thing. And you'll see us walking around with that stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, it's the passive income that now pays for that for us, this passive income here. This is active income right here. You have to be active to generate this down here. You take this active income and you invest it into assets that grow in spite of your efforts, and it becomes passive income. Every one of these doors, passive income. Every one of these doors down here, passive income. And ladies and gentlemen, as that asset starts to pay itself off and you become whole on it, the passive income grows. So as you pay it off, your income grows. Because now instead of paying the bank, you're paying yourself. And so ladies and gentlemen, it goes from you having an ROI, a return on investment, from this, on this, to once once this pays its debt down, now you have more income. And then that continues to come in over the course of time. Now, people say, okay, what if I have to renovate it over the course of time? Well, you just put a 10% or whatever it is that we do in a reserve fund. And as we need a roof, capital expenses like roofs, like outside veneers, landscaping, driveways, asphalt, parking lots, we just take that out of our reserve holdings every 10 years, whatever, and we do a roof. 10 years later, we do a parking lot. 10 years later, we do the exterior facade. And then that asset just continues to pay for itself. And if you run it like a business, ladies and gentlemen, you can have that produce income for you forever. And so one of the big things that I love most about real estate is it's a real asset. So as we go through, you guys have heard me talk about inflation, and that's a big topic right now. And so a lot of people are worried about inflation. They're worried about how much a loaf of bread is going to cost if prices keep going up. They're worried about how much their vegetables at the grocery store are going to cost. They're worried about how much a gallon of gasoline is going to cost. If inflation continues, they're worried about how much houses are going to go up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you could be on the flip side of it and take advantage of inflation. You go in, you buy an asset, real estate, long-term holdings. You buy houses, single-family homes that you rent out, or you go out and buy multi-unit real estate, whether it's storage units, whether it's multi-family apartment complexes, whether it's small retail that I've talked to you guys about that is still super profitable. Not malls, little strip centers, little 12,000 square foot strip centers, little office buildings. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a need for this stuff. And as you have multiple units of real estate and you have cash flow from that stuff, you can continue generating capital from it. And here's what's cool, is that when inflation happens, the same asset that you can buy for this $1 million, the dollar is now weaker. You can no longer buy that asset for $1 million because the dollar has depreciated in value, and there's been hyperinflation of goods out there in the world that cost more now to buy. So where this was once worth maybe $1 million on tangible dollars, tangible money, now the same property is going to cost $1.2 million to purchase just based on inflation. So if you have your money parked in here instead of a bank, because if you have $1 million parked in the bank, and if you're generating less than 1% of interest on that annually, guess what that's worth to you guys down the road? Almost nothing. And so the dollar just continues to diminish and deplete and go down in value. Or you can invest that dollar into real estate. And as you invest that dollar into real estate and the dollar gets weaker, the value of that real estate grows. So the real value, the real currency, ladies and gentlemen, in life is not gold and silver alone, but it's real estate. And that's what I love about real estate. Single family, multifamily, doesn't matter. That's what I love about real estate. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, for those of you guys that are just tuning in, is how you take your capital and you deploy it into long-term holdings. How you go out and you generate capital through the means of flips and flipping, wholesaling, buying land, building houses. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm still hard set on this. There's nobody yet that has sold me out of buying land and building houses, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is I have less liability and I have more profitability in a shorter amount of time than anything else in the real estate sector that I've found, where I can take that, deploy it into long-term holdings, do value add, and then just kill it on multi-unit real estate and repurposing. If you follow our content, you guys will see a lot of what we have going on. We have our Youngtown project over in the Phoenix metro area. Tons of profitability on that. We're going to walk in with about a 45% equity ownership in that thing when it's all stabilized and done. Millions and millions of dollars in profitability. And ladies and gentlemen, it's through the means of taking a distressed asset that does not work in its current state, an old office building. We reposition it for cash flow, and then the value of that goes up substantially. And the cost of construction is less expensive than it costs for us to build the asset out. And now we have cash flow, cash producing entity. And we may keep it and just allow that thing to continue cash flowing for us, or we may sell it. Take that profitability and deploy it into something else. So if we make $7 million, $6 million, whatever it is, we can go out and multiply that times 4, okay? Because it's usually about a 25 to 30% down payment. So for theoretical purposes, let's say we take let's say we make $6 million on the property, okay? So you take $6 million times 4, that's a $24 million property that we can buy with the profitability from that. And now we can depreciate all of that in that first year and pay either zero in taxes or almost zero in taxes, depending on what else we have going on. And so, ladies and gentlemen, real estate truly is one of the best tax shelters, one of the best asset holdings, and one of the best investments that you'll ever make for yourself. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you learn anything at all today, anything at all today, even one small thing that could either save you $1, make you $1, or save you taxes, pound that thumbs up button and let us know that the information that we're giving to you is of any value. If you haven't yet subscribed and you like the content that we're producing today, pound and subscribe on that bell and let us know for more content just like this, and follow our content for more information, because every single day we're bringing you guys information that we're living and producing all the time. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any information that is of value to you guys, give us that thumbs up button. If you're watching this on repeat and you're sitting back in your living room, your home, put #repeat, and that way we know that you're watching in the future. But ladies and gentlemen, this truly is the long-term goal for buying land and building houses, because if you go out, you're going to make money. If you follow what Jerome Maldonado does and you build houses under our guidance, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to profit. You are going to profit, but you have to follow what we're doing. But you have to learn, right? And so we're going to put in the link on this video. I'm going to put a link to the Elite Real Estate Society on our inner circle of how to buy land, build houses, and how to develop and redevelop real estate. Because what I'm talking about right here is a 12-week program that we put together, and we work side by side with you to teach you how to do exactly this in depth. Over 120 hours of educational program, step by step on how to do this. And then you get to work with me every week personally for me to teach you how to do this. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you're fix and flipping and you're sick of it and you're stressed out of your mind, because I know you are, because fix and flipping sucks. I hate it. I know you do too. Even if you're making money doing it, I know you hate it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you hate what you're doing, fix and flipping out, and you want to make more money with less liability, then click on the link that we put in here and let us know, so that way I can teach you how to buy land and build houses, make larger profits with less liability, and then teach you how to deploy that money into multi-unit real estate, and how to reduce or alleviate your tax liability, and then how to pull that capital back out, and how to make this grow, like a beast over the course of time, and how to create long-term generational wealth. Now, if any of you guys have any interest in that at all, let us know by giving us a thumbs up. If you have any interest in learning how to generate long-term wealth in real estate. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about it, we're doing it. Follow our content. Watch me as I travel over to Puerto Rico. Watch me as I do what I do here locally in Albuquerque. Watch what I do out in the Seattle area. Watch what we're doing over in California, and watch what we've been doing for years over in the Phoenix area. And ladies and gentlemen, you'll see our social proof of everything that we're going on, and you'll learn from absolutely all of it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn how to buy land, build houses, generate large profits, deploy it into long-term holdings, and generate passive income, I look forward to working with you.